Before you go looking for a coach or mentor, you have to ask yourself, are you ready to be challenged or just comforted? You want the clarity and direction, but without the accountability? In this episode, I'm breaking down the difference between mentorship and coaching, when each one is helpful, and what it really takes to grow as an entrepreneur, especially if you're still working a 9 to 5. Because they're both valuable, but there's something more powerful that most people don't even consider. Welcome back to episode 21 of Everything Entrepreneurship, the podcast with Jerome Carter, the place for ambitious employees, skilled professionals, those climbing up the corporate ladder, and my working entrepreneurs as well. We have hit a milestone of 21 episodes. Some quick statistics. 90% of podcasters don't even get past episode 3. And of the remaining 10%, 90% don't make it to episode 20. This means only about 1% of podcasts reach 21 episodes or more. Wow, that's something. I plan on having hundreds of episodes, you feel me? But the fact that you are here, you guys have supported, you guys have been listening, watching, it means a lot. So with that being said, I won't drag this out anymore. I always will take a moment to say thank you because I do appreciate the support in every single person that hits that subscribe button on YouTube. We're really growing. We're on our way. And the goal is still to give you as much value as possible. Now, last week, I said I had to pivot midweek because I was doing a little bit more research, diving into the topic that was going to be this week. And I pushed that back to next week as well. I'm very thorough when I do these episodes. And again, I want to make sure that I'm representing not only just the information that I find, but the advice, the tips, the tricks to give you guys so you can apply them instantly as well as over the long term, right? So I appreciate the patience with that. I do plan on taking this to the next level, not just on here. I just have a whole bunch of very fun things planned, not just for the podcast, but everything entrepreneurship in general. If you already know, you're excited. If not, this is the time to jump on the bandwagon because as I experiment with things to make it as impactful and valuable as ever, it's these foundational people, these foundational members that are going to define everything else. So I want to say thank you again for being a part of this journey early on. And you already know where we're taking this up to the top. So without further ado, let's get into the episode. Now, when it comes to getting a coach, finding a mentor, investing in your personal development, they're all important. But one thing that you have to take into consideration is the timing, right? So to date, as of 2025, and this is without exaggeration or embellishment, I've spent well over $50,000 into my own personal development through coaching, mentors, programs, courses, whatever it might be. I've done that because I will always bet on myself, right? I know that I'm capable of doing so much. So I'm going to strategically make sure that I take in information from those that have done it before, even if I have to pay to do that. Even if I have to pay to be in proximity, in the same room, have a conversation, take somebody to lunch, whatever it might be. I'm just very grateful that early on I realized what these words, what it really means to get that mentorship, to get a coaching, and how to really leverage it for yourself. As I grow, as I want my business to grow, as I want to become the best version of myself, paying to get there saves a lot of time and energy. But I've also wasted a lot of money, right? And I don't want to act like, oh, $50,000 is so cool. I know people that pay $50,000 for one annual mastermind, right? Or a ticket to an event, whatever it might be. So by no means am I saying, oh, I spent $50,000 on my personal development, thinking that that's the coolest thing in the world or that's the standard. I'm just being transparent in my journey. So with that being said, let's break it down. Most people typically talk about coaching and mentorship as if they're interchangeable, but it's really not the case. And it's this confusion around those words that causes people to overpay for coaching, waste time waiting for the perfect mentor to show up, or avoid accountability while claiming they just need the right direction. Now, online, you have a lot of gurus that'll say, oh, I'm doing this group coaching, or I'm doing this mentorship. And as social media has allowed not just social media, as paid advertising has allowed people to project what they're selling, the lines have gotten blurred as to not only what should be expected, but what they actually do for you. And if you're watching this, you're a person that's serious about not just your profession, but growing your business. It's only right to make sure that each move that you make with the money that you've earned is as useful as possible. So when we look at a mentor is typically free or relationship based. Like if we just go back to the actual definition, right? This person is going to give you wisdom based on experience, and they can help you shape your mindset, your vision, even your identity, um, to go into the right direction as it pertains to, in this instance, you for your business, right? They often are more inspirational and they're long term, like big picture growth thinking, right? Now, when it comes to a coach or getting coaching, that's more like transactional, like paid, system driven, um, and it can help you sharpen skills and execute better, as well as make better decisions. And whereas mentorship is more so like long term, coaching is more so short term. We're thinking anywhere from like 3 to 6 to 12 months. Basically, a mentor will help you evolve while a coach helps you execute. Now, quick story. One of my business partners was a mentor of mine, moved into a coach, and moved into a business partner. And it's crazy how it all happened, right? Now, whereas he already had his marketing company and he had a whole consultation business back 9 years ago when I was at the bank, I just had the conversation with him. I said, yo, I've known you for 9 years now. Early on, so after about 2 conversations, he told me, he said, hey, it would be very advantageous of you to find a professional that can give you a consultation so that you are not going in the wrong direction. He said, I'm not by no means telling you you need to choose me, but you need to find somebody because what you have inside of you is a drive that you can't just let go. I can tell you want more, and I can tell you're willing to put in the work for more. So no matter what, you go out and you go find somebody that's already been doing this at a very high level and you pay them so that you can get further faster. Now, granted, he did consultations, right? And whereas he was an option, he always made it very clear in a very real and actual way. I do not care if you choose me, but you have to choose somebody. I want you to go further, so make sure that you do that for yourself, right? And granted, this is 9 years ago. So little baby KJC is like, have my LLC. I'm over here like, I'm excited. Like, you're right. I do need somebody, a mentor, coach. You see, interchanging those words. I'm going to get a consultation, but honestly, I think I might go with you. How much is a session? And he told me, he said, I book 2 hours at a time, $550 an hour. So a consultation with me is going to be $1,100. Now, granted, I'm working at a bank and I'm not making all the money in the world. I'm looking at that like, golly, $1,100. So just like most people, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll get to it when I get time, right? When I get time. Um, and I remember just like it was yesterday. I heard 1,100. I'm like, golly, nah, I'm gonna find somebody else, right? So whereas I was at the bank, we still kept in touch, right? Um, like he drilled into me, no matter what business you have a marketing business. You have a marketing business that just so happens to sell this product or service. Because it doesn't matter how great you are in sales, you have to be able to get it to other people in the form of a strategy that we call marketing. Long story short, for months, every like 3, 4 months, he would text me. No, actually, he would call me. Hey, just checking in. How's it going? How's the business? How are things? And I would just be like, okay, they're moving, stuff like that, just like everything I'm telling you guys. After work, I'd go to Barnes and Nobles and I would get work done. As I look back in hindsight, I could have been doing more needle moving activities that got the business further to make money, right? So I was doing work, but I wasn't getting ahead. I was getting ahead, but I was inching along compared to the I could have been making and should have been making, right? So let's fast forward from the moment he said, hey, it doesn't matter who you go with. You need to find a professional that you can get a consultation to put you in the right direction. A year passes, over a year. And I tell him, he checks back in and say, things are going okay. They could be going better. We're doing a couple things. We're trying to get this thing not just off the ground, but making consistent money. Um, and I was thinking about your consultation, but $1,100 is a lot of money. Like I don't have $1,100. And I remember he told me, he said, well, first off, don't lie to yourself. Like I guarantee in the past year, you've had $1,100 pass your hands. And you could have put some money aside, if not all at once, and you could have had that $1,100. Now there's plenty of people that'll do it for free. They'll do it for $100, $200, $500. Saying you don't have the money is not an excuse. I never told you you had to necessarily pay big money for somebody. Me, I'm not cheap, but you do have to find somebody that's been doing this so you can get in the right direction. In which I said, you know what? You're right. Not on the phone. I just said, okay, cool. I appreciate that. But in a moment of reflection, when we got off the phone, I'm like, you know what? You're right. I have had the money passed through my hands. And at that point, I made a decision. I said, you know what? I'm going to put aside $1,100 and I'm going to do the consultation, right? Fast forward about a month later, just put some money aside from the paychecks I had. I didn't want to use credit. So let me put some money aside from these next couple paychecks. Boom, $1,100. And to be honest, this is why I structure my consultations the way that I do them. Since then, I've had a couple consultations, and by far never have I had one as thorough and on point and just intentional as his. So he says, okay, cool. Gave me the money. And from there, let's just say the consultation went. The consultation went. But in that aspect, I said, no, I need to be around this. I need this proximity. You know, whereas I did not pay him to be my coach, I received coaching in that consultation, right? These are immediate things that I can do in my business, not just overall broad stroke. This is KJC's business. This is what you need to do. And he laid it out a 7-day plan as well as a 30-day plan. My weaknesses, my strengths, it was amazing. And that's one reason why my company, the marketing agency, is high tier. We charge top tier prices because we get top tier results. It's that simple. But I brought that over to my personal brand, Jerome Carter, because it is what it is. I'm never going to ask somebody to pay something I haven't paid, as well as I'm never going to ask somebody to pay something I can't give them back the value. So when you see people online saying, I'll be your coach, I'll be your mentor, there's one thing for them to put on the screen. Oh, I've helped 1,000 people. I've helped 100 people. And here are their testimonials. Testimonials are great, but what you have to figure out is if the person is going to mesh well with you. So when we look at, as we do on this page often, we look at the context of the person in their situation, opposed to just overall. So if you're looking for a mentor, that's when we lean more towards this person might not necessarily be compensated money to check in with you, but the value that you get through those conversations are going to save you a bunch of time, energy, and frustration. One of the downsides with mentorship, especially if it's free, even if you are paying some money for it, it might not be as consistent as you would have initially wanted because there's less structure in a mentor. This person often saw you doing well and said, you know what, you can reach out to me, we can touch base, we can grab lunch, I can assist you on that basis. Maybe even make an introduction saying, hey, this person, this is KJC, they've been doing great work. I put my stamp on them. If you need something, you can go to them. A mentorship is really going to change who you are. It's going to show you what it's like to move in certain rooms, as well as a higher level of what it is you want to do. Maybe not necessarily the highest in some regards for some people, but it definitely shows you, okay, this is how you're supposed to walk. This is how you're supposed to talk. This is how you're supposed to enter the room, right? Now, when it comes to coaching, as I said before, it's a little bit more transactional, a little bit less long-term, more so short-term. You're paying with an expectation. I need you to tell me what to do, what not to do. And there is a lot of value in that if they have done it, right? So whereas, and again, this is another reason why I started everything entrepreneurship. After speaking with so many people that had coaching programs, had courses, or just these masterclass or these mastermind groups, and you take it away from me, and I just did my research, you find that anywhere from like 80 to 95% of people fail. I define fail as in not succeed in the goal that was presented when they first signed up. And I'm like, golly, most people are going to show testimonials of that 2%, that 1%, that 5% that's just doing amazing and whatever it might be. And we're not necessarily talking about financial. It could be for a resume writing thing. I was able to help out 1,000 people. Look at these 2 people. This person got their $200,000 job within 20 days. This person was able to quit their job and get a 6-figure job off of me helping them with the resume. But what they won't mention is all the other people that decided to no longer move forward because they didn't get results, right? And when it comes to coaching, you're going to be put more on, the spotlight's going to be more on you. Hey, did you do the work? If you didn't do the work, come back when you did. Whereas mentorship is going to develop you to say, hey, I understand you probably didn't do the work because of X, Y, and Z. And because of that, you might want to do this or do that. And what I found is there's 2 things that will determine not only which is right for you, but when you're ready for a mentor or a coach. And that is ego and readiness. So let me tackle readiness first. When I say readiness, I mean, do you have the basics down, right? You don't, if a parent is signing their child up for basketball lessons and they're a complete rookie, complete beginner, have never touched a basketball, they can start with the coach because they're teaching them the basics, right? When it comes to entrepreneurship, what I've found is it's better to get down the basics, have a basic understanding of the framework, the outline of the industry, and understanding of how your industry works at least. I remember again, 10 years ago, if I finally was able to get a meeting with somebody, I made sure that I had all my I's dotted, all my T's crossed. I made sure that I was proficient enough in the basic stuff, because if it was free or if I paid for a session with somebody that's further along than me, I said, I will not allow this session for us to be going over stuff that I could have just looked up. I'm going to learn everything I need so I can be at a very minimum viable level so that when I have this conversation or when I get in this room, we're able to just build and take off. The last thing I want to do is get in this room and they say, okay, you're here, so here go the basics. Nope, the basics are done. I might be too close to a situation, so I need some understanding as to what are the things I need to take into consideration or other things to look for. But we can review. I've gone over this stuff. I'm ready to move forward. And if you just saw a YouTube video on a new niche or a new industry, and let's say you binge watched 5 hours worth of stuff, that doesn't mean you're necessarily ready for mentorship or a coach. You need to spend some time in it. You have to have an understanding. Am I willing to go through this? Am I willing to learn through this? Am I willing to grow through this, through the goods and the bads, so I don't waste not only my time, my energy, my money, but a mentor or coach's time, energy, and money? Because it is, and again, this is from all the different people that have done coaching in some shape or form, it's disheartening when you're really good at your skill, your trade, whatever it might be. And you give somebody not only the value, but some step-by-step guidance, and they just don't do it. What do I always say? I say, there's only 2 things that are going to keep you from success. It's the right mindset and doing the work. Doing the work only one way might not work, but finding variations, persevering through it will, right? So if we have an understanding that you have to be ready to a certain level in order to get a mentor or to get a coach, then you have to first do that basic research to figure out, what is it that I'm in? What is it I'm trying to do? And is this for me? Another reason, whether it's the Masterclass, Employee to Entrepreneur Masterclass, or the workshop that I'm going to be teaching, I say the side hustle or business that you pick is contingent on you and your life. For instance, if somebody isn't that good with numbers and projections and predictions, I'm not going to tell them to be a day trader. Like, something else might be for them. But if that is for them, it lines up perfectly, right? So when we say, are you ready? You have to take into consideration, have you done enough research as to what it is you're doing, why you're doing it, and have you tried and failed? Have you not failed? Did you only fail once? Did you take a consideration of looking at a different perspective and how to move forward in that industry? If so, when you understand this is where I'm being blocked and I need some immediate feedback, then a coach might be for you, right? If you've tried and you've persisted and you've overcome and you're making some money or whatever it is you might be doing, especially if you're still at work, then it might be that mentor, going to these different events, like getting close to and recognizing people in the industry to say, I appreciate what you do. I would love to take you to grab some coffee or lunch sometimes. It's not creepy in a professional environment, especially if you've been around, right? At that point, somebody's going to mentor you. I remember I was joking with him. I was like, after like a year after I did the consultation, I would throw it out there. Oh yeah, it's cool to have a mentor like you. And I'm like, okay, if he doesn't say nothing, he's my mentor. And as silly as that is, it took a little bit longer for me to say, hey, I really appreciate your mentorship. And I appreciate when you are willing to coach me, though you are an extremely busy individual with not only your business, but other things going on, right? I guess there's another aspect. You have to be a good person. If you're trying to get over on somebody, if you're trying to cheat somebody, if you're trying to be cheap from somebody that you're trying to get knowledge from to save you time, energy, years in that industry, it's not going to work. And that leads us to ego. You have to be, what's the best way I could say? Are you willing to be held accountable? If you said you're going to do something and somebody is helping you along, they took time out of their day. If you haven't paid them a dime, or even if you have, are you willing to be held accountable? Are you willing to be challenged? Are you coachable and adaptable to what you need to do? Many times, now I can't speak so highly on this next part for other people because the conversations I've had with other coaches, other consultants, and stuff like that, outside of my own experience, it varies. So I never want to give you guys just definite answers like this is it, like the word is like this is the way. But what I will say is this: I've, from what I've gathered, ego is one of the hugest issues. Somebody does not want, it goes beyond somebody not wanting to do the work, but why don't they want to do the work? Because the way you talk to me, because of how you approached it. You didn't give me enough time. Like you're, I said I was going to do something and you actually followed up to make sure I did it. There's a quote that goes, ego wants applause and growth requires accountability. You have to be willing to be coachable by conveying verbally, but also showing in your actions that you're coachable goes so far. So many people are passive aggressive. So many people are anti-confrontation. To have a solid understanding that I might not always be right, or I said I was going to do this and this person is holding me accountable, and having big picture thinking to say, you know what, let me not just get upset and just lash out. Let me take that in and do better. Because if you're coachable, that means that you're not leading with ego. You're leading to figure out what's the best situation for the company, what's the best situation or the best thing I can contribute to everybody and everything right now. You have to be willing to get rid of ego when you're learning or when you're trying to achieve something. The value of a mentor, okay, let me say this. The value of a good mentor or a good coach is literally saving years of experimentation, years of experimenting, not just because of something vague. Oh, I wouldn't do that. You should do this instead. But if somebody is able to tell you exactly why you shouldn't do something or exactly why you should try this, it allows you to skip ahead. It's like a shortcut. That's why I'm always so blown away when people aren't willing to pay or pay top dollar when it comes to entrepreneurship and moving forward. Their personal development so they can be a better version of themselves that's worthy of the company that they're building. Like you're telling me if I give you $5,000 that I'm going to be able to skip through years of trouble, I'm going to be connected to your network. You might even allow me to work with you in this, say no more. And even if none of that stuff happens and I just get the information, the proximity, I'm going to soak up so much information that I'm going to also be connected to the higher level. Like everything is literally a perspective shift. Now, in the intro, I said mentorship and coaching are good, but there's something more powerful that people don't consider. And that's a community. That's a program. That's something that blends the best of both worlds, while it also puts you around other like-minded individuals on a similar mission as you, right? The journey of entrepreneurship is a very hard one, even for those that find success in their first, second, or third attempt at selling their product or service. The journey is going to show you exactly who you are. And as somebody that's in a 9-to-5 setting, it's very advantageous for you to be around like-minded people, being taught by somebody that's done what you want to do. Now, regardless of if you need mentorship or coaching, this is what you actually need. And I wrote this down. Not just a mentor, not just a coach. You need clarity about your goals and direction, accountability to show up consistently, community to not feel like you're doing this alone, and strategy, not just motivation or hype. As in, you need a space to experiment, execute, get feedback, and stay sharp, not just a monthly call or a YouTube clip. It doesn't matter whichever one you pick, or even if you don't pick either of them right now, so long as you have an understanding that your proximity to people that have done something you want to do, and having the right mindset to understand, I don't know what I don't know, and this person ahead of me is telling me what I need to know to help me. Now, I'm not going to say every coach is an amazing coach or every mentor is an amazing mentor. But what I will say is, hopefully you can sniff out the good ones and you should listen to them. Because if it's a free mentor, they're getting charged nothing. They're literally telling you what they believe would help you. If it's a coach and you're paying for them, first off, you paid for it. So you should get your money's worth and follow what they say. Now to an extent, it does make sense to follow exactly what they say and experiment along the way, right? Many people will say, oh, they gave me 5 steps and I did 2. I'm surprised as to why it didn't work. Well, first off, you probably should have tried all 5, and you probably should have tried to adapt along the way to figure out how it can be fine-tuned to specifically you. But as I said in the beginning of the video, in the intro, mentorship and coaching are great, but there's a more powerful option that people don't consider. And it's being a little bit more mainstream now, and that's a community. A community of like-minded individuals led by a person that's where you want to be to help you move forward, and as it pertains to entrepreneurship, to make money. These are all things you have to take into consideration. You have to have a solid understanding that timing is a key, and you should do some prep work leading up to getting a mentor, coach, or whatever it might be. As well as you have to drop the ego. Ego is good, but you don't necessarily need to always clash. Any good person worth their salt that's a mentor or coach has no problem getting pushback. But so long as you give the pushback with the understanding that they want what's best for you, because of one, either you paid nothing and they're doing this out of the kindness of their heart, or 2, because you did pay something and they're trying to give you your money's worth, it's not worth it to always argue with people. But regardless, that's my take on it. That's KJC's take on it. What I said last week carries over. Next week's video is a huge topic. I'm trying to make this my best video yet, as thorough as possible, right? And I will also do the Q&As there. I'm working on extending past YouTube, as in like clipping stuff up, putting it out on other platforms, because as a marketer myself, as a marketing strategist, it's literally stupid for me to not do that. And though I'm also running a company, I don't have an excuse. I just have to get it done. If I lose some sleep, if I got to do some more work, it is what it is, right? But with that being said, I'm gonna bring this video to a close because again, I'm not that special. KJC, what have I been up to? Working hard. The day's been passing fast. That's cool with me. Got some big things on the horizon for the company, some big things that I'm working on, and I need your feedback with. Follow me at kyle.jerome.carter on Instagram. I'll go more in depth there as well as here as well. I'm going to be doing some posts on YouTube, so look forward to those. I appreciate everybody, especially if you made it this far. Many times people forget to hit that little like button at the bottom and press subscribe. I'm glad that you're here. I want to keep on giving you valuable information. And we have a crazy episode next week. I hope you look forward to it. Until the next time, you got this. You can really do it. Just focus on getting 1% better each day and following through on what you said you were going to do. That being said, talk to you later.